moving on to me. This one comes from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for asking my husband to cancel his bros only trip to help me with our newborn after he promised he would? This situation has caused a lot of tension between my husband and me, and now I'm questioning whether I'm being unreasonable. I, 30 female, gave birth to our first child, Olivia, 2 months ago. Being a first-time mom has been both beautiful and overwhelming. My husband, Jake, 32 male, was incredibly supportive during the pregnancy and promised that after Olivia was born, he would be there for me every step of the way, especially during those challenging first few months. Before Olivia was born, Jake and his friends have been planning a bros-only trip for this summer, a week-long vacation to a cabin in the mountains for hiking, fishing, and bonding. When the trip was being discussed, I reminded Jake that Olivia would only be a few months old, and we would be deep in the newborn phase. He reassured me that if things got too tough, he would cancel the trip to help me out, and I trusted him. Now that Olivia is here, things have been harder than I anticipated. Between the sleepless nights, breastfeeding struggles, and just trying to adjust to motherhood, I've been feeling overwhelmed. Jake has been helpful, but I can tell he's excited about this trip, which is coming up next month. Last week, I asked Jake if he could consider canceling the trip, reminding him of his promise. I told him that I'm struggling and that having him gone for a whole week would be really tough on me. He seemed surprised and a bit hurt that I was asking him to cancel. He said that he's been looking forward to this trip for months and that he needs a break too. He also pointed out that his parents live nearby and could help if I needed support while he was away. I understand that Jake needs a break and wants to spend time with his friends, but I can't help feeling like this is a time when I really need him by my side. I tried to explain that while I appreciate his parents' help, it's not the same as having him here. Jake said that I'm being unfair by asking him to cancel the trip after all the planning that went into it, and that I need to trust him to make sure I'm supported even if he's not physically there. Now we're at a bit of a standoff. Some of my friends think I should let him go, saying that it's important for him to have some time away, especially after all the stress of becoming a new dad. But others agree that it's too soon for him to take off for a week, and that he should prioritize being home with me and Olivia. So, am I the asshole for asking my husband to cancel his bros-only trip to help me with our newborn after he promised he would?
No, you're not the asshole, but I'm not. I'm kind of on both sides. I can see both sides of the argument. I'm definitely leaning. I'm on her side. I am on her side for sure, but I can kind of see some of the other side as well. You know, in some stories, you're like, no, you're the absolute asshole, dead set, 100, 100% on one side. I feel like I can understand the other side of the trip, but your wife takes priority. And if she says no, then what she needs you, then that's it. That's the end of the conversation. But I
understand his anger, I guess, sadness maybe.
No, I don't get that.
So what do you understand then?
Just like okay, like I understand him saying like, oh, my parents should come help out. That's okay if she's okay with it.
Right.
If she's comfortable with your parents coming to help out, because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, where's the family support system? Like, it's not so unreasonable for him to try to plan a boys' trip. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he should have never done it or anything. It's a little premature. I think 2 months is not long enough. And I think you were planning it before the baby was even born, which I think that's dumb. You're planning it before you actually get into the situation. Yes. Like, it could be one thing if it was like, okay, it's 2 months in and a boys' weekend, but you're going for a whole week and you've been planning this before you even knew what dad life was like. So I'm like, if you were planning it after, that means that you'd be planning it with your wife's consent while you guys are both going through the struggle. So that would be a little bit of different circumstances. But this was a pre-planned affair, and I feel like that changes it. But then asking for, your parents to come over and support is not terrible for grandma and grandpa to come. But if your wife's not comfortable with it, because it's not her parents, and it would be a different between going for the boys' week, it's like maybe that's not such a terrible thing if your wife has the support. Mm-hmm. But nowhere in the story does she say like, my parents offered to come or something like that. Like, I'm sure everybody would be more comfortable with like their parents helping out in certain relationships. So I don't think it would be terrible if that was the case and he was planning the boys' trip. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the boys' trip is like oh my God, that's an absolute no. I just think that their family dynamic isn't the right situation for that.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, I understand his disappointment for, I don't know, like, last minute, like, not last minute, but, like, a month before, like, he's been so excited and whatever. And now she's like, I actually need you. Like,
Yeah,
but,
see, I'm not on board with that disappointment because I'm also thinking, like, you shouldn't have planned this trip before you had the baby, before you knew what it was like. So that's why, like, I don't really have sympathy for that on my part because I'm like, you shouldn't have got all hyped up for this because
yeah, he let himself get excited.
you let yourself get excited.
Yeah.
You're planning something before reality actually hit you in the face
Yeah.
of that. Like, I can understand being like 2 months in and being like, oh, I feel like I need a weekend. And like, and that's fair as a parent, but it depends on how much the guy is actually doing.
Yeah.
Because the reality is the mom does the majority of the work because, you know, it's their little baby, you know, and in a sense it's our baby, but you got to
You're doing
admit,
the breastfeeding. You're like,
it came out of you. I feel like the mom wants to hold it majority of the time. The mom feels like the overwhelming parent. Like, the guy's there to help and support and hold it, but I feel like the mom, in most cases, is doing majority of the work, even if the dad's there by her side the whole time. Mm-hmm. In a sense, so I can understand like that, but like it depends on the levels of how much parenting he actually had been doing. And I don't think it's unreasonable for him to want like a weekend break or something like that because it's a lot of work. But you have to make sure that you have the support system there. Your wife's okay with it. And then the next weekend or the weekend before, it's fair for the mom to get a break as well. It's not just, oh, I'm a dad, I'm overwhelmed. It's hard. No, both parents, no matter what.
I'm sure she's overwhelmed too.
Yeah.
Like,
so are you working out a balance where it's like, hey, is she getting a girls' weekend? A getaway weekend or something like that? Or are you only thinking about yourself? Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at, where I'm like, okay, maybe it's not crazy unreasonable for him to think like this, like to want a boys' week or something. I think the where it went wrong is like, one, don't pre-plan a freaking boys' trip before you even got into pregnancy. Two, your wife has to be okay with it. Why would you book a trip where you think you have the understanding like, oh, if you don't want me to, I can cancel last minute? You don't plan trips for months for a week-long cottage rental or something like that and then cancel it last minute.
Yeah, because then you're going to be disappointed. Like, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, then you're going to be disappointed. So, and then like, yeah. So I'm 100% on the wife's side.
Yes.
I'm just saying I don't think it's unreasonable that
He was trying to find an alternative.
One of the parents wants a getaway weekend or something. But it says like a week.
Oh, okay.
A week's a long time.
Yeah. Okay. Top comment. You were uncomfortable for 9 months. You went through labor. You are now breastfeeding. What the fuck does he need a break from? He was a giant asshole when he even planned this trip. He was a bigger asshole when he lied about canceling. And he's a giant, gaping, insanely awful asshole now that he thinks it's unreasonable for you to not want him to be gone for an entire week when you've already felt overwhelmed. It doesn't seem like you'd want his parents to stay for that week while he's gone. This made me furious. I hope this is his only misstep, though I doubt it. Not the asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm just a little softer on the asshole wording because, you know, I'm making assumptions that we don't fully know what their parenting relationship has been like. If it's the typical mom's doing everything and guy thinks he needs a weekend away because it's tough,
yeah,
you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
But we don't know exactly how much he's been doing.
Yeah.
So
no, but it's true. The reality is she had to be pregnant for 9 months. She had to give the birth. She is the one breastfeeding. So I feel like there's no amount that the guy can do to make up for that.
Okay. The only thing I can think of where it's like, maybe the guy has been doing so much that he needs 2 weeks off. Like, maybe he has been the one who has been doing the overwhelming amount of baby care. Like, he's been getting up all the nights. He has been doing like the bottle feeding. He has been doing like 90% of the diaper changes. Maybe, hypothetically, he has been the one. Rare circumstance.
Maybe, but...
Oh, no, but hear me out where I'm going with this. He's rare circumstance where he's doing 80% of the baby parenting, right? And mom was like, hey, I gave birth and like I'm over here, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a flip swap. It's flipped.
Yeah.
If that even is the case, where he's done so much that he deserves a week-long break, wouldn't it be fair to say, like, your wife isn't equipped to handle it by herself? If you've done so much that you deserve the break,
that is
then how
Fantastic
can
point.
you leave her alone for a week? Because she will be underprepared for that. Which is so rare, it's probably not the case. But I'm like, the only way I can see it where you overwhelmingly deserve a week off is if you've been doing so much.
Yeah.
And if you have been, then she is not equipped to handle it once you've gone.
Spitting facts.
Yeah.
Okay, there's an edit. Hey everyone, I just wanted to give a quick update after reading through most of the replies. I was honestly overwhelmed by the amount of support and understanding I received. Thank you so much to everyone who took the time to respond. Your kind words and thoughtful advice really helped me feel less alone in this situation. A lot of you suggested that I should also take a week off, letting Jake stay with Olivia to get a break for myself. I really appreciate the sentiment behind that suggestion, but there are a couple of reasons why it's not realistic for me right now. First of all, I'm breastfeeding, so being away from Olivia for that long will be really difficult logistically. But beyond that, and this is something I know I need to work on, I just don't feel comfortable being away from my baby yet. I know it's not healthy to feel like I can't have her out of my sight, but I can't help it. I guess it's just that new mom anxiety that's really hard to shake. I've been debating whether or not to show Jake this thread. I'm worried that reading it might hurt his feelings, but I'm definitely going to have another conversation with him about everything. I'm willing to compromise and let him go on the trip, but I think a whole week is just too much. I'm leaning towards suggesting that he limit the trip to a maximum of 3 nights, so he can still have some time away with his friends, but not be gone for an entire week. I'll update again after we've talked. Thank you again for all the support, everyone. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, I don't think that's unhealthy to like not want to let your eyes off your baby.
I think that's normal.
I would feel the exact same way. So I got nothing there. And yeah, I do want to say that like for both parents, I feel like it could be healthy and beneficial to get a break.
Yeah.
Like, yes, a week is too long. Honestly, for me, I think 3 days is too long. But I think it could be if they were able to work at the dynamic of having the support. I think it would be beneficial if one of them feels like he needs a little bit of a break. I think it could be healthy for him to take a weekend break, as long as it's not an argument. It's a mutual decision. Like, I think it could be healthy for him to go to the cottage, spend 2 days with the boys. Maybe he will miss his baby after that. Gives like kind of like recharging the batteries a bit. 2 months in, if it's nonstop 3-hour feedings, you're waking up all night, it can wear down on you. Mm-hmm. And being able to like take a weekend break away and kind of like recharge those batteries, you could come back depending on your mindset, because it could go the opposite way. You could be like, I really like not having a baby around me, and like then you resent your baby when you get back. But it could be healthy when you get back, be like, I missed him. I'm fresh. I got 2 nights of like really good sleep away, and it's like, it's fresh.
You're recharged.
Recharged. So I feel like there is an aspect there where, hey, maybe that is a healthy choice for your relationship versus you're like been grinding, you're in the ruts, you're taking care of the baby. It's boom, 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 never any break. You're kind of like resenting that baby after a while, where that could be healthy. Mm-hmm. But like I'm saying at the same time, like it could be healthy for her to take a little break too, if she was comfortable with it. Obviously, she's at the point where she's like, I that doesn't sound good to me at all. Mm-hmm. That sounds terrible, being away from my baby. Like I am where I want to be. But I could totally see there being like a healthy aspect to taking a weekend break away. Mm-hmm. Because having a baby is hard. I just think everything about how this boy's week-long trip has been planned all wrong. Mm-hmm. Shouldn't have been pre-planned before the baby was even there or anything. But that's why I'm just like, I don't think I'm 100% he's the asshole because he even had the idea of the getting away a little bit. I feel like that could honestly be a little bit healthy.
Right.
Like at the same time, like, okay, you've been raising the baby 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Maybe it's healthy that the couple takes a weekend. Like, are you able to leave the baby with grandparents?
Yeah, yeah.
Or aunts and uncles or something like that?
Well, she's saying she doesn't want to be a part of the...
She doesn't want to be. But I'm sure some couples might feel like after like 3 months of nonstop babying, maybe they could use like one night, mm-hmm. like a couple's just reconnect as a couple. Like, yeah, just even like one night, like a dinner night, like an evening, like baby is with somebody, they're going out for dinner and they kind of have like one night of like a little bit. I feel like that could be healthy as a couple stance as well, of like reconnecting as a couple.
Yeah. Okay, there's an update. Hey everyone, I just wanted to share another update after having a very long and emotional talk with Jake. I won't get into every detail of our conversation, but I'll touch on the most important points. After putting Olivia to bed, I went straight to bed myself, feeling utterly exhausted. Jake was already asleep, but for some reason, the weight of everything just hit me all at once, and I started crying uncontrollably. My sobbing woke Jake up, and he immediately asked me what was wrong. I told him that I was just tired, but then I opened up about how anxious I'd been feeling about his trip and being left alone with Olivia. I admitted something I've been reluctant to say out loud, that Jake hasn't been as involved as I thought he would be. This was one of my biggest fears when we found out we were having a baby. For context, Jake has a rocky relationship with his own dad. I won't get into details about why his dad isn't the best, but his mom, my mother-in-law, remarried when Jake was in middle school, and his dad wasn't very present in his life. Jake has expressed to me before that becoming a father was scary for him because he's afraid of being a bad one, just like his dad. When he first told me that, I thought it would make him into a great father because it showed how much he cared about being a good dad long before we were even pregnant. When I vented to him about all of this, at first he tried to defend himself. He admitted that he's been freaking out about having a baby for so long and just didn't want to tell me. He said he didn't want to stress me out while I was pregnant because he knows how much I've always wanted to be a mother. Hearing him say that made me feel guilty, like I hadn't seen how much he's been struggling internally. I had tried to convince him that he was going to be a great dad when we had this conversation a long time ago, and now it all felt more complicated. I thought to myself, this can't go on much longer. I realized that if he was going to keep pulling away like this, I didn't know if I could handle it. So I asked him, is this what our life is going to look like from now on? Me with Olivia and you away? Because if it is, Jake, then I don't think I can continue on like this. Jake told me to calm down and assured me that he wasn't going anywhere. Then he got really emotional. He even started to tear up. He said he didn't want to turn into his dad, and that he hadn't realized that going on this trip could be a preliminary step towards becoming an absentee father he feared he might be. He apologized for not considering me and Olivia as much as he should have. Long story short, Jake called his friends and told them he wouldn't be able to make the trip. He even started planning a little family getaway for the 3 of us next year when Olivia is a bit older. It was a tough conversation, but I feel like we're on the same page now, and I'm hopeful that things will get better from here. Thanks again, everyone, for your support and advice. It's been an emotional roller coaster, but I'm grateful for the community helping me navigate it.
Well, I'm good Jay came to his senses because it was not my theory of he's doing so much he deserves a weekend. It's the opposite, where he's also barely been doing anything and now he wants to leave.
Yep, exactly.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's bad.
I don't think they're doomed, though. I feel
I
like
don't think so.
It's good that he changed his mind, and this is a good... It seems like they do have good communication from this little blip into their life that we have. I don't know.
It seems like they didn't have good communication, and good communication doesn't get... This is a boiling point conversation.
I guess.
This is an emotional breakdown conversation. Good communication...
I'm
doesn't
just saying,
result to this. At least they had communication.
They communicated the bare minimum.
Yeah, they emotional communicated after the bomb went off.
Yeah,
there wasn't.
Okay, fair.
Like there was no communication before that. Apparently,
I'm just saying at least like bare minimum here, guys. Like at least he opened up about his feelings.
Yeah, bare minimum after she had an emotional breakdown.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe there's potential for growth. So
potentially.
Yeah. All right, moving on. That was a long one.
All right, I like that one. That was good. I feel like we literally just saw Andrew yesterday.
I know.
So I feel like there's so much like baby emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.